Good evening, welcome to Easy 8 Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there. Welcome, welcome. God, what a great start. Yeah, just jumped into the studio, don't really know what I'm doing with myself. This is a live stream, you can tell. Completely unscripted, done away with the teleprompter, not that I even used it last week. If you're new here, Easy 8 isn't a tutorial show or anything like that. It's just me in my attic running a live stream that I don't know what I'm talking about, where you can come along and paint your models with me for the next 2 hours and anybody else who's joining in over here. This evening so far we've just got Jeff. Hi Dad, thanks for coming along. That's my dad, that is, just over there. So yeah, if you've got some projects that you want to paint, because let's be honest, we've all got like grey bits of plastic lying around all over the place that we just don't have time to kind of put some paint on together. So we'll do it together so that we can get it done, something like that. Last week it felt so good because I had a teleprompter on the side, right? And I had some stuff and I wasn't reading it and I didn't want to read it because it makes it look rubbish, but it was there and I could see it and it kind of reminded me of what I wanted to say. And this week I've come in and gone like blah 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 blah. I don't like doing a script because I think it should be real life. Alright, I don't like doing recording stuff because it just feels wrong, it feels a little bit fake. So yeah, there's no tutorial stuff here. If you want to come along and just paint your stuff with me, that's absolutely fine. There's loads of that stuff out there already and you should go and have a look at it because there's some amazing and very talented people out there. All I'm going to do is just paint my stuff and talk about the stuff that you're doing. If you are painting something this evening, I would love for you to tell me what it is. You could take photographs of it, you can stick it up on Facebook because we're over there as well, not just here on YouTube. We're on Instagram. I'm not on there a lot really, but we're also on Discord, so if you want to join me after the show for a live video interview, it's an interview, right? So you can come and join me if you want to and have a chat with me, or you can just type and you can share your photos up there as well, because I'm genuinely interested in all the projects that you're doing. I actually do genuinely get like inspired and motivated by all the stuff that you're doing. For the last few weeks, quite a few weeks now, I've been painting up some Tyranid gargoyles and they're very nearly done. I've been waiting for some acrylic rods. Don't know why I'm doing that. You know, to make some flight stands for them. I thought I'd ordered them some time ago, that they were due to arrive at the end of last month, and they never arrived. So I thought I'd go through all of my emails to see if I could find like invoices and something like that, and there was nothing there. So I must have not finalised an order and nothing came through. So I started searching just sort of earlier on this week to see what sort of thing I could find, and I knew exactly what I wanted, but there was a long time waiting for things that are out of stock or trying to ship them over from Spain through Green Stuff World. And I managed to find what I was looking for through Wayland Games. So Wayland Games, if you ever do happen across Easy 8 and this show, thank you very much for having exactly what I needed in stock and shipped out to me in a really good time frame. So thank you very much. I have them right here. I'll show you in a minute. It's just that, but closer. That's it, really. So yeah, I've got my flight stands. The reason I wanted those ones is because the GW ones, while they do exactly the same job, probably a little bit stronger, but they're all at the same sort of height. So all your gargoyle wings just all kind of come together, and it just makes it harder to kind of put them on the table. So yeah, I had to cut them off the flight stands because they were pre-built by a friend who gave them to, I say a friend, by someone here in the live chat. You guys are friends, right? Someone in the community gave them to me pre-built. To paint them, I had to cut the flight stands off, which meant that I had to kind of damage the flight stands. So I was like, just do away with them. I broke my nippers in the process. I don't even know what I've done with them. They're down there somewhere. I broke them. I was very upset about that. What can you do, eh? So I had to replace them. So one of the things I've got to do on those now is make the stands for them. I'm not going to do that right now, because one of the things that I wanted to do, and I've got an admission to make. Do you know what? I'm going to turn the music down for this, because it feels like I have an apology along with an admission. For all the weeks and all the months and the years now that I've been painting models here in the studio with you guys, very few of them are actually finished projects. Sad admission, really, isn't it? Yeah, really sorry. There's a fine line between just doing my own hobby stuff and trying to do something that's entertaining on screen as well. So a good portion of the stuff that I have done has been completed. A lot of the stuff, there's still a few things left to do. So I thought that this evening I would make a start by showing you all of the failures that I have, because that's a part of this, hobby, isn't it? Is not always finishing or doing so well as you wanted to, by showing you globally, the whole world, live on stream, the things that I've told you that I've done that I haven't, and using this little bit of time before October to try and get some of them finished. I will now bring you back in to the music. And here endeth my apology. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I feel like an imposter. I feel like I'm telling you, yeah, that project's finished. They are very close to being finished, but I'll talk you through them and I'll show you what I've got to do. Maybe you've got projects this evening that are unfinished. Maybe you need to kind of get back to them, or maybe you just kind of like want to do some finishing touches and things like that. That's cool. Bring them along. Tell me all about it. It's okay to not finish things, and it's okay to not be as good as you wanted to be. But we've got to keep on going, and that's the whole point of the show. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Joining me in the live chat, not just Jeff, I've also got Lister Kane. Hi mate, thanks for coming along. Nice to see your name there again. If you guys are working on anything, let us know. You can take pictures, you can put them up on Facebook. Nowadays, you can actually just put them straight up on the wall if you want to. You don't have to put them on to this week's listing. That's something that we used to do ages ago. Then we weren't able to, and now we can. So I'm just going to take it straight over to the workbench, and let's get stuck in. Here we go. There we go. Nearly lost my button. For some reason, today I thought was going to be a really good show, but I've got a feeling I'm not going to have a clue what I'm doing. Last week went really well, and this week hasn't gone so well. Anyway, it's the weekend, right? Happy Friday. Cheers. A cup of tea for the first half. Here we go. That's fresh out the kettle and tastes like burning. So, yes, things that need finishing. I've got quite a few things. I'm just going to focus on 40k stuff tonight because that's the kind of the door that I've been banging on for a while. It's my I'm 41. It's 41st millennium. I kind of wanted to have a focus on Warhammer. So the first one that I really wanted to show off here is my Trigon. I love my Trigon, and I did like probably several months working on the Trigon on the show. Again, most of my Tyranids were given to me pre-made, so there was a lot of having to, kind of paint delicately in and around certain things. I absolutely love this model, but as you can see, there are things that are falling off the base. The base is very flat. It hasn't had its rim painted, so that all needs doing. Because I wasn't able to place the model down on the base after I'd finished painting it, it was welded to this plastic base. I would have damaged it quite a bit by taking it off. I had to just kind of do what I could, and actually, even though that's a very large open space in here, painting that and putting the texture paints in there was very difficult. So I'm okay with not having a large feature in there, because I could have had like a big piece of statue building or dead people or all sorts of really cool things in there. It was very, very difficult to paint, especially, and I never thought about this before I started doing it, around the outside of the tail, under all these spikes. It was very, very obvious that that wasn't the case. That if I'd missed it out, that I hadn't actually put anything in there. Over the few months that she's been sat there, there's a couple of cat hairs, so I'm going to get rid of that one. There's also one down there. Oh, that one came out really easily. I got these rocks in there just to kind of... they're actually real rocks. They're from my neighbour's garden. Sorry, Adrian. They're painted to kind of make it blend and whatever. But they're just to kind of go in here and make it look a little bit more interesting. So, yeah, they can go in there as well. But here's the big deal that I didn't do with this Trigon. And that is I didn't finish doing the carapace on the tail. Because there's hundreds of plates. Can you all see those individual plates? Up here, look, it looks really cool, doesn't it? That scheme that I've been working on, the gargoyles for a while, and all my other creatures, I think that looks absolutely fantastic. I really, really like the way it's come out. And this is one of my earlier ones as well, so this isn't like refined. So one of the things that I could do tonight is carry on doing the plates on here, especially now that I kind of refined my process a little bit more. Starting from here, I could do a little bit to kind of fit it, because this one's got kind of nothing on it. But I could do some darker grey on there, make it look kind of cool. And then I've got all the highlights all the way down, all the way around. And I could start off by just kind of neatening this bit up here, because that just makes it look a little bit tidier. Jeff says this evening that he's been making trees. So many chuffing trees. Love to see a photo. It sounds like you got your work cut out for you. What else have I got that I haven't finished? My Carnifex. Love my Carnifex. Was one of the first bigger models where I really started getting into doing this cool design on. And it's a little bit faded compared to the rest of it because I started like playing with contrast and making sure that there were lots of highlights and things. Got some really good dark depths in there, but the highlights didn't come out as bright as some of my other models. But that's okay. The actual model itself is finished on here. What I wasn't so happy with was the extremely flat base, but again, this is a model I've had for years and pre-built before I painted it. Very difficult to get in under here to kind of do anything with it. So I put in one of those little weird things that came with the Gene Stealer packs years and years ago. That was kind of a marker that you could use as like an infiltration marker or something. And I just stuck it on there to make it look interesting, right? I didn't really like the pink. The pink was a bit too bright. So I might tame that down and make it the same sort of meaty pink brain sort of colour that I've got here in the like the sort of joints of the Tyranid that I use on a lot of my sort of muscle bits or whatever. That pink I used for the tentacles on my spore mines, and that worked really well. And I thought, oh, these look like tentacles, so I'll paint them pink. And it was a little too stark. I like to do a lot with sort of red weed features on a lot of my bases, so I could try and use the red colours to make that pop and not have the pink. It was not where I wanted to go with it. Also, I could tidy up the rim because I never did that on it either. I feel ashamed to be showing you all these things, but it has to be done, right? I've got a big Tyrannofex here. This came from eBay. It was a couple of quid, and it's missing loads of bits. I stuck those pieces on it, and I use this as a test canvas to paint, to do lots of my test color schemes on it. I don't plan to do anything with this. This is just in the way, so I'm going to move it over here because I was doing some testings on it. Do you remember when I was doing these bad boys? Betty and Frank, or Frank and Betty. Beautiful scheme, came out really well. I tried differentiating the yellows between the actual carrier beast and the gun on here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Here we go. So that the gun just stands out just a little bit more than the rest of the body. And I was playing around with blues to make it look like it was electric, and I kind of got there, didn't really get there, but I'm sure I'll work on it. I'll develop that colour. But again, look at that base. It's an unfinished base. I get to like finishing the creature, like, oh yeah, I'll do the bases later on off the show, and then chuck it away, and then it sits there for ages. But otherwise, really happy with the way that whole creature came out. I think it looks really good. Yeah, really like the bony appendages sticking out the end over here. So that's something I can do. Moving away from Tyranids, I've got Mechanicus. I've got my two robots. These guys look awesome. A totally different way of painting. Wanted them to look quite grimdark without doing like the streaking grime. So lots of rust, lots of exposed bare metal bits on them. That's all been kind of worn away. They look like they've been shot up in some sort of action scene out of a movie. Looks really cool. Was never really happy with the finished texture on the ground on here. Wanted to make it look arid. Wanted to have a sort of orangey Martian sort of colour on there. Never really liked it very much. Maybe you guys do. But I did change the colour of the rims on my Mechanicus bases from this dark red to a very slightly blackish kind of grey, Corvus black. And it looks really good, so I want to change that. And then on this one, I just didn't do anything on that base. It's all coming out, isn't it? It's all coming out. So yeah. I've also got loads and loads of my Skitarii miniatures. Let's just grab this one here because this is my Datasmith to go along with my my robots. So this is the colour base rim. It could do with a quick cover over because it's I only did one coat on it, so that could be done. But look at the two colours that are on the base. I've got two different texture paints on there, and I didn't kind of merge them together, didn't blend them together. This one looks too orange against the cloak. This one's too meh. It's just a little bit half-arsed, excuse the expression. Otherwise, love the model, absolutely brilliant. Some of the people who are looking at the photographs on this one on Facebook said they really liked the light effect on the backpack there, which, yeah, I really like too. It's really cool. So, yeah, I've got loads of Skitarii miniatures. I've got like a squad's worth of them where they could all do with their bases being, kind of blackened up. So lots of things that I can do tonight and just kind of tidying things up. So I think I'm just kind of going to get started on that, really. just neatening up my base edges, because that will kind of make me feel like they're a little bit more tidier, a little bit closer to being done. Listergain says, I'm painting my termagants tonight. What colour scheme are you going with? Are you going with a sort of a pre-army, like the ones that come from Games Workshop? So you got Behemoth, you've got Kraken, you've got Leviathan, which are the three main ones. Of course, the Leviathan box set, you could paint it whatever colour you wanted. If you got the recent Codex, the new one, and the previous one in 9th edition, they've got loads of other like High Fleets. I actually do mine as High Fleet Jormungandr. It's a real tongue twister. That is in Norse for the serpent god. These guys are like, they like tunneling, so serpents, but in the book they're actually black skin, yellow carapace, I think. So I did them the other way around. I did them yellow skin and then, well, grey carapace. So yeah, that's what mine are. Anyway, I just wondering what colour scheme you're painting them. Cool. T. Lots of talking, not enough painting. Gonna crack on. I was so hoping for like a really smooth intro to the show. Apologies for making it look all rubbish. Right, so I'm going to get started. Let's get some paintbrushes on the go. I was doing a little bit of painting downstairs, so I've got a few brushes kind of lying around all over the place. Do you know what? I'm going to start, because I've got these guys here. I've got my trio, if you like. I've got my two robots and I've got the Datasmith. I'm just going to paint the base rims up on these ones because, you know, that's a nice easy thing to get started with, isn't it? What I need is my black Corvus Black. It's a really nice colour. It needs a bit of a shake. I've said this so many times, but I've kind of fallen in love with Corvus Black because it's not a true black. It's a really, really, really dark grey, and it's really good for doing things like tyres, especially on like historical vehicles and things like that. Although I'm sure there's a plethora of other very exciting products that you can use. Like historical vehicles, their tyres aren't jet black. If you use black paint, it's jet black. So you want something that's like a really dark grey. You look at a lot of historical colour photos, you actually see that Wazamatic. You look at a lot of historical photos, you'll see that actually the tyres are actually like very light grey in some instances. One of the things that I realised is painting models that you'll realise that if you're painting tyres black, that it looks out of place. It looks out of place. So my recommendation is to paint them Corvus Black or something similar. You know, you can see here that while it is a black on the screen there, you can see that it's actually not totally black. Right, I've got a load of stuff on the desk. I'm just going to move that all out of the way. I'm going to do the Datasmith very quickly. Because he's all done, really. I just want to neaten him up. It's a small one to get started on. Here we go. I'm going to get my palette just on the side over here. A little bit of black. Here we go. Really, really dark grey. Add a bit of water in there. Just so it flows a little bit better. See, Lister Kane says, doing my own colour scheme, all my paints are from Green Stuff World, but the base colour for my Tyranid army is Flubber Green. Flubber Green. Is that like a really sort of bright green? Is it like this sort of colour? This is Vallejo Escorpina Green. Escorpina Green. I think that's supposed to be Scorpion Green, but, you know, sounds better, doesn't it? Escorpina. Escorpena? I don't know if there's like an accent in it. My Spanish is really poor. Some people don't really like Green Stuff World products. I quite like them. I've got a few bits and pieces from them. Not like a whole range of paints or anything. Would love to know what you think of them, really. I could have chosen a bigger brush for this. But like I say, on this guy here, the base is already done. Let's zoom in a bit more. The base is already done on the rim with one coat at least. Could just do with a bit of a tidy up. And I don't like jet black rims. Some people leave them completely. That's your choice. That's fine. I've got no issues with that. Some people paint them jet black. Just not to my palate, really. I just don't like that very much. So painting them really, really dark grey kind of does the same sort of thing. Makes everything really pop and stand out on the top. But you can see that it's been tended to. And I'm pretty happy handling the miniature because I varnished them. No, it's a lot brighter. It's a lot brighter than that. Well, the only next one I've got is light livery or livery green, which is borderline dramatic yellow. It's a really nice colour, but it kind of crosses the borders between yellows and greens. Wow, really vibrant Tyranids then, huh? Would love to see them when you've kind of got some base paints on them. Have you got anything completed yet, or are you kind of like just taking your time with them? Some people churn out models so fast, it makes me feel like a right douche. Like a right idiot. I can't even get my 7 gargoyles finished in, what, 4 or 5 weeks? People like halfway through Leviathan before I was even able to get my hands on it. Okay, so finish the rim on that one there. Lovely. I'm going to go to this one here now. It's a really big miniature. I'm actually going to change the brush because I just picked up the first one that came to my hand and it was actually the wrong choice. I've been using this one for so much lately because I'm doing quite a bit of detail work on the gargoyles. It was the wrong choice. I'm going to go to my number 2. Here we go. Trusty old brush, this one. It's a bit rigid, a bit pointy because I've got the gel in it that kind of protects the bristles. It's like a packing gel, which incidentally I got from Green Stuff World. Especially for transporting them around, if you're travelling around. It's a good thing to have, I think. Just stops your expensive brushes getting damaged. Bit of water, bit of paint. Okay, here we go. A little bit wibbly wobbly at the top there. That's a bit better. I feel like my camera is ever so slightly out of line. I'm having to like move myself quite a bit further into the desk today. Maybe I've nudged something and the table's gone further back. It would be weird if that was the case because it's up against the wall. If I'm out of shot too much during the show, just shout at me. You can shout at me in the live comments. You can talk to me in the live chat or the comments. I read everything. So if you're watching this back later on, you can also talk to me down, just down there. Just be like, hey Danny, your shoe sucks. Can never see what you're doing. And you're right, it does suck, because I'm lying to you all this time saying I finished all these miniatures, and I never have. I just wanted to show you the realism. The gritty truth of miniature painting. You see, the thing is, I've got to show you stuff that's, I've got to change it up every now and then. I can't just be doing the same thing forever and ever. You'll get bored and you'll leave me, and I don't want you to. I already think that looks so much tidier, so much neater. Probably will need a second coat. That's fine. We'll come back to that in a bit. Let's put him over there, and let's get this guy. A bit more paint. It's got actually nothing on the base on here, and so I'll probably end up having to do another one. As I put stuff on it, I might muck it up a little bit. That's fine. What I'm doing now, of course, is putting that first layer on. You can still see the natural black of the plastic underneath. That's just the plastic, and then there's just colours of spray and stuff over the top where I was painting with the airbrush. I don't have to be so neat with this one. I can just kind of slap it on, as long as it gets a good coating on there. In preparation for the work that I have to do on it later on. There we go. So now, let me just wash my brush. I've got two robots with sort of these really dark grey rims on their bases, along with a data smith, and I just think that they all look really smart together, kind of really neatens them up, especially as like the robots are quite rough in their appearance. A little bit of smartness at the bottom, I think, goes really well. Tonight's show, the dirty underbelly of unfinished minis. We need to show it. We need to talk about it. We can't hide. It can't be a taboo any longer. We need to, we can't model shame ourselves. Now that's a better temperature. Okay, so here's something I really wanted to try out. Is it the time for trying out things? When I should just be cracking on with it. Oh, I can't stop myself. So, when I went to the North Devon model show a few weeks ago now, I raved about it, and we had a great time. There was another display, amongst all the displays, there was a display that stood out, displaying these new types of mini paints that I've never seen before, SMS Infinite Colour. They do enamel paints, they do acrylic paints, and you can get lost in the different manufacturers. The lists and lists go on, and which ones do you prefer, and should you stick with just one brand? And there's just so much conflicting information about, especially if you're a starting mini painter, what do you do? But I've been looking for like a really good red oxide colour, because I want to paint a few of my historical tanks red oxide. I've got some like Hull red colour over here, which I think is too dark. This is a Vallejo one. Amazon messed up my order, so I've got two. But I don't think I'm going to use them for that. I could use them for some good earth colours for my Martian stuff. This one here is definitely closer to the colour that I want for my red oxides and things. But maybe these colours together will be the colours that I want to finally lock down on my Mechanicus models, my sort of Martian things. As I've said in the past, I don't want them to be Martian red. They're not supposed to be Martians. They don't come from Mars. They're affiliated. They come from an orangey planet. They paint the stuff orange as a kind of a camo. Yeah, they've got some red colours on them as an attribute to Mars because they're allied. But if I painted the desert colours on the floor, anything oxidey, anything kind of orangey, it blended too much with the actual miniature itself. And while the floor looked really good, it was too similar. So I have to kind of do something about that. Now, I was thinking I could just paint Mars red and just be done with it, but in my search for iron oxide colours, I thought, do you know what, this is a good place to be. I've not even opened this yet, so I thought maybe tonight is a good chance to have a little look. Now, I've got a little test base thing here, which I just kind of play around with different textures, colours and things on here. It's got like red weed bits on it. That's kind of cool, right? So I thought I would just kind of paint a little bit on, spray a little bit on, and just see what this paint is like. So on the show, really, this is a first for using SMS paints. Give it a go. I think, if I remember rightly, it's an Australian company. I had the brochure here somewhere, but you can find that online. If you want to go and have a look at the range of paints, they've got quite a selection. If you're into enamels, if you're into acrylics, they do almost identical ranges between the two. There's some differences. I'm going to give it a really good shake, and because it's been said already, I'm going to hit that up on the Easy 8 Waz-O-Matic. You got to waz it. Got to waz it. Going to give that a really good shake, and I'm going to give it a little go with brush and with airbrush, because it's designed for airbrush basically, but I want to see how easy it is to apply by both. It comes out in a really fine tip nozzle. It's got a really interesting like safety cap on it, which I find very interesting, and the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of pop some on the palette over here. Oh, that comes out very quickly. What a lovely consistency that is. He says as he spits on the board in front of him. So sorry. How disgusting. Right. Brush. First of all, no water. I'm just going to see how it brushes on and what colour it comes out with, really. Does it cover well, etc. Here we go. Very, very thin. Very, very watery. I quite like that in some ways. It allows you to build up slowly. I quite like the colour. Trying to see if I can find out some of the highlights of the bits that are painted on here already, so it kind of shows its opacity a bit more, its hue. It's a nice colour. I can't wait to get that through the airbrush because it's so thin, it's not really doing anything there. So, gonna fire up the old compressor. Listicane says I've got one terminate semi-complete. It just needs a few I can't see one of your words behind my little heart icon. I'm sure if I did this, you can see my little hearts. Oh, I'm not allowed to do it. Okay, cool. I've got a heart icon right in front of your text. Just needs a few touch-up in areas. Is that right? Is that what you're trying to say? A few touch-ups? I can't move that little heart icon either. It stays there. I'm such a techno noob as well, aren't I? Okay. Let's get a piece of paper out here, because I want to spray with the airbrush. Going to move these guys so I don't get any overspray on them, because that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Having just finished them, then ruin them entirely. Right. The old airbrush here. All clean and ready to go. I'm just going to put a few drops in there. And see how we go. It struggles to cover the colour that I've already got on here, which tells me that if I've got models that are already painted, I might want to put like a base primer down or something. But I really do quite like this colour, and I quite like it going over as a filter over the colours what I've already got down, and my airbrush is playing up a little bit. I have had it cleaned, but maybe it's been sat there for a little while, and it's just not playing, perhaps, I don't know. Let's give the old nozzle just a bit of a tweak there. Get that to play a little bit better. If I spray it here on this white, you can see the colour building up. I quite like that. And it's much closer to what I wanted. It's a red weed flying around. Now, if I held this colour beside one of my robots, is it too similar? Brightness levels on my monitor there are kind of hiding it for you, I think, really. What do we think? It's very glossy at the moment because it's just come out of the airbrush, but I can map that down very easily. I quite like it. Maybe it works quite well with the brown tones in the background there. Might need to flush the airbrush out. I did do a test run on the airbrush a little while ago, but I don't know. Maybe there's something in there blocking it up, perhaps. Or maybe just the paint is just too thick to go through. Maybe it is just meant for brush, and I don't know, maybe I got it all wrong. Is it meant for airbrush? Maybe, I think it might just be too thick. I'm going to put a little bit of thinner in there and see what happens. It does just say it's, can be thinned and can be applied by brush. It doesn't say anything about it being suitable for airbrush. So maybe I just kind of got that wrong. Okay, let's have a little look. I've got some little mixy trays here somewhere. Give it a bit of a clean out. Let's see how thick this paint is. Well, to be fair, it is very thick. That's fine. Good to know. I say I thought my airbrush was fine. I pop that there. I will put a drop of thinner. Down like that. I'm also going to put a little bit of flow improver in there as well, because flow improver it's a really good thing. Love flow improver. And along with the thinner, that will do a really good job of, thinning that down. Might need to put a bit more in there as well. I think so. That's really thick. Okay, if you buy this stuff, don't stick it straight in your airbrush. My airbrush did push it through, but it was really struggling. And that's quite orange, isn't it, really? Quite like that. With some washes over the top of it, it might go down really well. I'm going to put a bit more thinner in here. And a bit more flow improver. Let's see what a little bit of water does to it as well. Okay. Very gloopy. There's not really enough in there. Let's see what happens. Just going to put a bit of thinner in there and just kind of mix it around in the hopper as well. Doesn't like going through the airbrush. Maybe I picked up a non-airbrush version. That's flowing a bit better now. That's better. Okay, just hit that with some air, see what happens. What do you guys think of this colour? Does it look alright? It looks quite browny on my screen. It's actually quite orange. It's a very rusty orange colour. I like it. It's a good colour. I just hope it doesn't blend too much with this. I'm going to try a little bit of the Hull Red now and see what that does. Okay, I'm going to flush this out because it made a bit of a mess of that. Where's all my water? There it is. Don't mind so much experimenting on a day where I'm just trying to like tidy up some of my miniatures, but normally this is quite a slow process and slows everything down. If I've got a miniature that I'm trying to just get through, this is a bad thing to do. Jeff says it's almost a terracotta colour. Yeah, it's a little bit more orangey. Oh, do you know what? No, maybe terracotta is quite orange, isn't it? What's the actual colour called again? I can't remember. It's just called oxide. Airbrush is working well, which is a good sign, because I thought for a minute there I just hadn't done a very good job cleaning out the airbrush, and I knew I had. My airbrush is gaslighting me, all the paint is anyway. So it just needs thinning down to go into the airbrush. But you can see that when I painted it on by brush, it was actually quite thin. So I don't know how I feel about that, but nice colour nonetheless. So let's have a little go with this Hull Red. Pop that over there. I haven't used these before, so I'm going to give these a really good shake. It's coming. Here we go. Wazomatic. I mean, one of these colours could be used as like a shadow colour. This one here on the table could be used as like a highlight colour. Now it's actually under my light. You can see the colour a bit more there. It's very browny sort of colour, isn't it? Now this is meant for the airbrush because it's Vallejo's Model Air range, so I should have a bit more luck with this. Yeah, straight away, came out pow. Has a nice sort of matte finish to it. I like that. I really like that colour for this purpose. As for doing tanks in a Hull Red, I think it's rubbish. And I'm glad I didn't do any of my tanks in this colour. But yeah, if I... Okay, so we got a reddish brown. What have I done? I'll just sit here with the air on it for a minute. Try and dry that down. I went a bit crazy with that, to be honest. Come here often. Okay, I like this. Nice colour. It's a very weird sort of brown. It's much lighter in real life than it is on my screen. Been having troubles recently with like lighting on my show. Yeah, it's very glossy at the moment because it's still kind of wet. Like I say, you can always map that down. I wonder if I was to mix the two colours together and see what happens. If I get some of this, and what have I done with it? Where's it gone? Here it is. Let's do like a 50-50. I'll mix the two together. Do I get like a nice mid-tone? What's happening? I'm gonna be honest, it just looks like dog poo. That's rubbish. I can't do anything with that. That's just okay. It's just gross. Get rid of that. Awful colour. What happens if I take some of this colour and spray it aside? I wonder if I get like a nice sort of zenithal style shading. God, it's very thick paint actually now I'm thinking about it. Put a bit of thinner in the hopper here. A bit of flow improver as well. There we go. Or maybe it's just good for dry brushing over the top of texture, who knows? Or maybe I could paint everything in this colour and then wash it with the hull red. They'll all give you slightly different finishes, and it's worth just kind of exploring through them. I've got a couple of colours that I quite like. Okay, so I'm thinking about just coming in at a bit of an angle. Don't think I've got enough texture to really make it look all that good. I'm just going to come back to it in a minute. I'll let it dry off a little bit and I'll see what it's like, and I'll maybe hit it with some dry brushes. Maybe I'll hit it with some washes and things. Just interesting. I don't want it to be brown. I don't want it to be orange. I don't want it to be red. I'm just trying to find something. I'm trying to like happen across something. I'm trying to find a happy accident. You know what I mean? If I get one of my little rocks over here, this is just a spare one that I've got, and if I popped a little bit of primer in it, I'm going to go with a little bit of white just because it's nice and bright. I'll just put a couple of drops in, and that'll give me something bright to work with, putting that orange over the top of, right? There was still chemical in the hopper. That's better. What I do, I'm just going to pop that over there. I'll come back to that in a minute, and I'll see if this colour over the top of a brighter colour works really well. It's just interesting that when you're painting it with a brush, it's really, really thin. Put it through an airbrush, really, really thick. We'll find out, I suppose, what it's like. Okay, let me purge my airbrush. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing over this week is not only am I going to be doing my gargoyle bases, but I'm going to be just kind of looking over all of my old miniatures and just finding all those little, you know, things that just need sorting out, those little finishing touches, base rims, base colours. I've got some glow effects on my on some of my Skitari that I just never really kind of worked out or solved, and they look a little bit messy, and they just need finishing. They just need a bit of attention. So that's what I'm going to be doing over these next few days, because of course one of the things that I put out there, challenges for you guys, a challenge with myself and John from Out of This World Models and Minis. There's a link to him down there in the description. Go and check him out. Is that we're going to be tackling October. October is nearly upon us, and a tradition with some model makers, painters, etc., is to do something orc themed through the month of October. So John and I wanted to do something together because we support each other's channels wildly, but we never really do anything collaboratively because, well, we're on the other side of the planet to each other. So he suggested, let's do something for October. Have you got any suggestions? So I said, let's do Gazgul, the big orc dude. I've ordered mine from the Pit Gaming Store. Thanks, Pit Gaming Store. And he's due here in the next few days. That's going to give me about a week probably to kind of get him made up. Maybe I'll make him in sub-assemblies. Maybe I'll just do it all in one go, and I'll try and get him primed before the first show in October. And yeah, looking forward to that. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm intimidated by it because he's a big, expensive model, and I don't mind spending the money on it, but it's just kind of got that thing like, oh, don't mess it up, do it right. So yeah, it's gonna be really, really fun. That's something that I'm going to be doing in October, and I challenge you guys to find any orc model, anything themed. It could be Lord of the Rings, it could be Warhammer Old World, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be space orcs from Warhammer 40,000. Get something orky and paint it through October, and make it the month's project. You can do it around other things as well, and it would be great to see all the projects that you guys pull out over that time. It'd be fantastic. Anyway. Tea. It's getting cold. Right, what other miniature bases do I need to do? All of my Skitari. I'm going to move the sheet away from it because I'm going to go away from using the airbrush just for a minute. Just going to wrap up all my paint lids here. Still got a ways to go with finding the right colours for my Martian bases, but it's interesting to play around with them. I've got all my Skitari, guys, so let's just get them all out over here. And you can see the different states of completion that I've got. And one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is kind of bringing them all together with a unifying base colour. I'll show you what I mean exactly with that in a minute. And then, kind of putting those finishing touches on these models. I absolutely love the Skitari models. I really wanted to get into them because of their steampunk thing. They used to be an army in their own right. They're supposed to accompany the Adeptus Mechanicus, which is basically the Martians. They're basically their rank and file warrior. But nowadays they are a part of a larger force. I just like them to be a part of my force. Here's my little mini leader dude. He's like a bit of a giant amongst normal ones. Yeah, as you can see that they've all got different coloured bases. I painted all my original Skitari, with the dark red rims. I'm going to paint that black as well. Yeah, some of them are just unfinished bases. Others were left black. Others were done dark red. Bit of cap there, of course. So they can all be brought together. On these models then, I did some fairly successful sort of orangey reds on the bottoms with stains and washes and things. I'm still not entirely happy with the way it turned out. I've got some that are just kind of plain Martian red, a little bit lackluster, really, but you know, it looks nice in its texture. And then I've got the glow effects on here. I almost got it right by accident on this one. I wanted this one to be purple, and you can see that it's got like some kind of glow effects at the bottom. If I turn it up there, it kind of goes darker. But I never really kind of got that right. And on this one here, I never really sussed it. The plasma blue, and it just looks messy. Not happy with it at all. If I took photos of that to show you rather than here on what could possibly be a bit of a dodgy camera, you'd be blown away with how rubbish that looks. So yeah, I've got some things that I can do. Their eyes could do with a little bit more blue in them as well. I think what I was doing was choosing too dark a blue. I was using a really bright white ink and then doing a dark blue over them. I should have been using quite light blues to kind of build up the colour underneath, over the top, you know, opaque. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I'll be working on as well over the next few weeks. And the reason I want to kind of get these done soonish, I will tell you when we come back from a break. So yeah, we're going to disappear for a few minutes in just a minute, and I'm going to line these all up and kind of get them all ready for their first little layers of black paint. I think I'm missing a dude. There he is. I see him hiding behind a big pot of paint there. So these guys come in 10s. This is a unit here on the table that I've got. I've got just off the screen here. I've just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got a sniper one. It's just an upgrade. They don't all come with them, but you know, I like the big gun. Cool, right? These guys have all got like standard rifles. This guy here is like the little sergeant dude. He's got a bit of cat fur in him as well. He's like a little sergeant dude, little sword and pistol. Things like a taser prod thing. It's a big plasma rifle. This has got like an arc thing, and I wanted to do like different colours for all my different types of glowy weapons. So lightning, purple, why not, right? This is their little mini leader, and then to go along with them, I've got my data smith and my 2 robots, and that's a really nice little force. I want to do more with these guys. I want to get my other Tyranids and stuff finished. So yeah. Anyway. It's time for a break, and hopefully when I come back from the break, some of my other tests will be dry and I can carry on with those as well, and maybe I'll actually come with an idea of what it is that's going to come out of my mouth next, because I clearly don't have any lines today. I'll see you in 10. Go change your paint water. Bye-bye. welcome back. Hope you had a nice little break. I went and got myself a cheeky boozy drink. Happy Friday, everybody. Cheers. Yeah, quite strong. Yum. Okay, what have I been doing in the break? I've literally just been cleaning up my models because they're all quite dusty. They've been sat on the side. I've got a really large desk. Bought it from a second-hand sort of office surplus store. It's a huge desk, and here, you can't see in front of me, there's easily 4 foot square of space of just stuff, models and things that are all kind of lined up, and they just sit there and acquire dust. So before I did anything with them, I thought it would be a fair and just thing to do to give them a quick once over with a stiff brush. It's got a soft brush, but it's got some stiff bristles on it. And I'm just getting rid of all the dust and the cat hair. Even though I don't really let my cats in this room, it always somehow manages to find a way in because it's an insidious thing, isn't it? Now, just before we went away to the break, Jess just put in there, did you know that Green Stuff World do a Martian colour crackle base paint? Yes, I did know that they do it, and I've got it right here. And it is a really nice colour. It's just too red, and I wanted it to be a little different and Martian red. It's not the best crackle paint in the world, unfortunately. I do like it. It does do the job. It's just not as good as the Citadel one. Now, you can slate Citadel colours or paints for being too expensive or whatever until you're blue in the face, but the quality of their paints has gone up markedly in the last 10 years, year on year almost as well. I remember when I first got back into the hobby in 93, 94, and the paints back then were awful, frankly, and they did a lot of very good science stuff, I assume, to get to the level where they are now. And their technical paints are notwithstanding, they are really, really good crackle paints. They are expensive. You don't get an awful lot. By the time you've done an army, you probably spent quite a bit of money on it, but it is good. They just don't do that amount of a variation of colours. That was not a very good sentence. You know what I mean? They don't do a wide range of colours. They do a black one if you want to do lava stuff. That looks really cool. They do a grey one. They do a sandy one, and they do a red one. I wish they would do like a whole range. Then there's probably just not enough cool on them to make it a worthwhile investment for them. I totally get it. So what I'm quite happy to do is to use the Citadel red one, which I've bought somewhere. I bought one a little while ago, I'm sure I did, and then to paint over the top of it because the quality of the crackles that appear are really, really good. The Green Stuff World one requires a lot of the paint on there to get decent crackles, and they still don't really do as good a job as the Citadel one does. So well done, Citadel, you got a good product there, it's really good. So that's why I tend to stay away from using the Green Stuff World one so much anymore. Here it is. I've got it. Do you know what? Let's go back over to the workbench. Before we go to the workbench, something I forgot to mention earlier on is that if you do like what we do here at Easy 8, please do like, share, subscribe to the show. Such a small gesture from your part means such a lot to me at this end. We're now up to 123 subscribers, and I worship you all. Thank you so much for the time that you spend in coming and watching me fail at painting miniatures. I hope that anyone who comes along and watches this show, I genuinely do, I hope that you find something, I hope you find some joy in doing what we do here. I hope you laugh at me and laugh with me, and most importantly, I hope you get through your mountains of grey plastic, because it all deserves paint. Doesn't matter how good you are. So this show is for pros and for newbies alike. So yeah, if you're new, welcome to the show. Please do subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button so it spreads the word a little bit more. Spread it amongst your communities and your groups of friends. And I hope to permeate across the world. Subscribe, please. To the bench. I mean, I'm so fat lately, my shirt's not fitting me at all. I keep on having to tug it down, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, here we go. Let's Martian Earth crackle paint. It's a nice paint. It is good. It's just not as good as the Citadel one. So yeah, shame that really. I did really like the colour of it. It was a really good colour, and I was trying to find out, excuse me, if they did a paint that was just the colour, so I could use the Citadel texture and this as a colour, but Grease Software don't want to talk to me, so you know, thanks. So yeah, there you go. So I'm left to trying to work out my own colour schemes and stuff. So that's where I'm at with that. Okay, cool. I've just finished brushing all these guys down. This guy here included. This guy here. This guy's kind of stuck under my head a little bit. Put him down here. And then I've got Datasmith Dude and stuff over here, so they can just stay there for a minute. So they're all dusted down. Just been using a couple of these brushes. They look quite stiff. They're quite gentle. They've got some rigidity to them. So there we go. Put these brushes away a second. Right. I'm going to put some black on their bases because I think they need it. However, let's just have a little look at some things I was preparing a minute ago. Just needs a couple more minutes to dry. And here's my test base over here. This is mostly Hull red, which as you can see is a brown. It's a reddish brown. And that might be a really good base. So in a minute, I'm going to try a dry brush of this over the top and see how well that comes out. It might be really successful. I just don't like dry brushing so much. Very easy to get it wrong and make it look pants. So I'm going to do this guy first because he came first. He was the first model I did of all of these things. So I'm going to scooch these guys all up a little bit. And I'm going to come back to my Corvus Black. A lovely little paint. Do I want to use the big brush? Should I go back to the little one? I'm going to go to my middle size one. It's also got that gel in it. So at the beginning of the show, I mentioned something that I wanted to talk about, and in the listing on Facebook and on YouTube, I mentioned that that I kind of got an announcement to make. Once I've got these guys all blacked up, I will tell you what that little announcement is. It's not the most amazing major news in the whole wide world, or is it? Stay tuned. Let's get these bases done. Dark red colour. Oh, I've got shaky hands. That's not what I want. You can tell I'm concentrating because I've gone quiet again. Just short of sticking my tongue out, really. Do that sometimes. I'm sure I pull all sorts of faces when I'm painting. Gone a little bit over the lines there, but it doesn't show up, so that's good. Yikes. It's a neat colour, isn't it? It's a neat colour. I like it. Okay, so I did this squad in halves. So some are painted on the bases, others are not. And it was just because I was just trying to learn what colour I wanted to do and putting them together. It took a bit of time, and I just wanted to not rush them. So I did a set of 5. Broke it up a little bit by doing something else. I can't remember what it was I did, and then came back to these and did the other 5. So yeah, that's why it's all a little bit different. Now as I'm painting the black base plastic on this model, I can really see the difference between the black and the very dark grey. I do like it. out of shot again, isn't it? That colour does frame them. It's very nice. Yeah, I'm really glad I decided to kind of just experiment one day. I got stuck in this idea that a colour had the colour on the base had to be a colour that kind of was in keeping with the rest of the model. My Tyranids, for example, are a light grey. It's a highlight colour on their carapace, and it makes the rest of it kind of stand out. And I kind of got stuck into that way of thinking, and it just wasn't. I think it was just a bit too much of that red and those warm tones on these models to make them look good. As you're going to see now with this model, it's now going to stop it from being all in one sort of tone, and it's going to make it stand up and stand out. A little bit of texture just on the top edge there, that's just making the paint look a little uneven as I'm going along. I just don't want it to look that uneven because it's going to look like I don't have a steady hand, which is absolutely the truth. But a lot of my painting is hiding my truths. Just struggling on that little bit there. Let's just brace my arm against the table. This is a slightly tougher one than I expected it to be. Interesting technique I've just accidentally developed there. Hold the brush still and brace it against something like the table, and then rotate the base into the brush. That worked very smoothly. And now, as you can see, it's not being that jet black, super glossy plastic that it was. Smooth, subtle, semi kind of gloss. I thought they were probably going to varnish over that or disappear, that semi gloss appeal. And it looks really nice and sets the rest of that colour off, makes all those colours pop. Really happy with that. Really happy with the colours that are on the base actually. Maybe I need to look at that a little bit more. See, I was also trying pigments. I just suck at pigments. I don't know what it is. Just can't do them. I end up getting a little bit on the brush, I apply a little bit to the model. It mostly stays in that area that I originally put it. I can't really spread it out, and if I do spread it out, it just makes a big old mess. So, you know, if anyone's got any tips on using pigments, I'm all up for listening to you, watching you, working with you, from you, whatever. Yeah, if you can teach me how to use pigments, I'm all ears, mate. Jeff says, do you think that if you had, let's say, a display case for finished minis, that you might be more likely to finish them? Nothing in the case unless it's done. Yes, that's an interesting way of thinking. I've actually, just out of sight, just over there I've got one, and downstairs I've got a couple more. I've got a couple of display shelves, floating shelves from IKEA. I believe that that model range is called LAC, I think. And I'm basically in front of me here. I'm going to put up. It's a really long shelf, and I've got a couple of little ones. I'm just going to put them in and around the studio here, so that once I finish my models, I can kind of display them, so I can see them. They're not just kind of cluttering my desk over here, and I can kind of put them up on like a point of pride. You know, in the area that I work in. There's a little something for me. No one else really comes up here, you know. Sometimes my friends come up to help me move stuff around for games and stuff, because you know, just behind the white curtain over there is like a load of storage for games, scenery, and things like that. So yeah, no one else really comes up here, so it's kind of nice to have it for me. You know, I paint these models for me. I enjoy it. It's nice to look at my models on a display feature. You know. More on displays in just a few minutes. Bear with me. I'm just building up the tension deliberately. Okay, I like this new way of painting base rims. Load up the brush, brace the brush, rotate the model. That works really well. Nice, that's another one done. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere now. For all these months, these miniatures have just been sat there, kind of just mocking me from the side. Every show that we've been live on, they've always been there, just to have a camera shot, making me feel a little bit small, because I never finished them properly. It's nice to kind of give them that little bit of attention. You know, and just my painting personality is just as much to blame. I can't put it all on the fact that I want to bring something new in, you know, on the show all the time. It's I don't always feel satisfied just painting the same thing all the time. I always like to make sure I've got a couple of things on the go. So I might, you know, I'm not going to paint my Tyranids today. I'm going to paint my little tanks, etc., etc. It's always nice to have a couple of things to choose from. But that is also like something that I can get carried away with as well. Like I can have like 16 projects because, you know, reasons. So I've got to be careful with that as well. Just gonna just regularly wash my brush out so it's not getting claggy. Don't want that paint to be travelling up into the ferrule, which I'm sure it's right up in there. This is a very satisfying process. And the reason it's a satisfying process is because it's finishing touches, right? It's really easy to do. It's the last little bit, it's tidying them up. I'm getting some nice vibes here. How are your projects coming on this evening? How are the trees coming on? There are so many trees. How are the termagants coming on? Are the termagants... Are you just building them, or are you kind of getting some colours on them now? Is your army of really bright flubber green starting to come together? I did notice actually that you had put some photos on Facebook. I will go and check those out at the end of the show. Remember that if you want to come and talk to me at the end, you're more than welcome to. I'm on Discord. There is a link to all of Easy 8's platforms down in the description of this video. If it's your first time to Discord, some people get kind of like scared off from it, but it just asks you to kind of like verify that you're a person. So you've got to go to like the intro thing and just kind of like put a little emoji. That emoji could be like a thumbs up icon. It could be whatever you want it to be. But then it just knows that then you're a person, and it allows you to interact with Discord normally. And then down the left hand side, there's loads of like categories and things that you can go and have a look at. They could be like chat categories, they could be image galleries, it could be like just interesting things to talk about. It could be whatever you like. And there's also a couple of video rooms and stuff that I use to talk to you guys at the end of a show, at the after party, and sometimes during the week. I'm just on there. People come and join me while I'm painting. Sometimes just when I'm playing video games, they just come and chill out. And that's what it's all about. And if I'm honest with you, I brought out Discord too early into the community for Easy 8. But it has been like a nice little place where people do go and chill out and hang out and whatever. But I kind of, in my naivety of being an online personality, that's interesting, I've never said that before. But being an online personality, I kind of expected it to sort of blow up overnight and there'd be, you know, hundreds of people talking away and stuff. Yeah, Easy 8 community is not, it's just not that big yet. That's fine, like I've got no issues with that. It's just I need to have better expectations of myself. Jeff says, let's not talk about trees. Okay, cool. Yep, sorry, didn't mean to bring it up. Obviously, touchy subject. I am so sorry. Right, just 4 more of these bad boys to go. Then we can get on and talk about some cool stuff. Now I can see that I'm going to have to probably come back and redo some of these base rims a little bit later on. Not because I've been untidy, although as I said that I was untidy. Is that like some of them just need like some more attention to the colours that are on there. They're just the base colours. So I will inevitably like get more colours down the edges and things like that, and I'll have to go back and neaten up this colour. But for the most part, I've done it. So I'll only have to like do like a little touch up here and there. Three more to go. It's 3 more, isn't it? Is it? That doesn't look like I've done that one. go. Just a couple more. I'm going to do that one last because he's the boss and that kind of just works. Got the colour, awful colours and stuff on there. Got like a weird orange and then it goes into a bright, horrible red. As I was playing with different colour schemes for the edges of bases, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go with this grey colour. And it works. Colour's gone a bit transparent there, you can see right through it in a few places. Okay, one more to go. Do you know what? They look so much better. They're so much tidier. It's like a photo frame. It's quite incredible, the effect it's had there. So, one more to go out of these bad boys. It's raining so heavy I can hear it through the music, through my soundproof headphones. It's really coming down out there. Anybody else been in the heavy rain this last week? Come back from a lovely sunny hot holiday in Morocco to torrential monsoons. And I work in the outdoors, so yeah, getting a full brunt of that lately. I wonder if you can hear that on the microphone. It's really heavy. Cool. There we go. Look at that. I did something. Finished some things. Excellent. Task done. I'm going to pop those with my robots a minute and my datasmith. And I'm just going to enjoy them for a second, if that's okay with you. Yeah, dead happy with that. Some comments going in. Let's not talk about the trees. Finished putting the first colour on the guns of my diligence. Just painting the toenails at the moment. Toenails. Kez sends her apologies. She's just finished work and is feeling a bit ill this week. Yeah, she sent me a message earlier on just saying that, you know, might not be available. And that's fine. Do you know what? If you got work, we got lives, and this show is just about find the time when you've got the time, you know, to kind of do your hobby. You don't have to apologise for not being able to attend the show. It's not even that good. It's just somewhere. It's a painting club, you know. It's just somewhere you can go along and you hang out with your friends and stuff. And thanks for thinking of me. I hope you feel better, Kez, and I hope work wasn't too hard. Had to turn my volume up as it's hitting hard. Wacky ho. I don't know what you mean by wacky ho. In wacky ho. Cool. Nice. Yeah, it's really coming down, this rain. That's a good drink, that is. So look, I've done them. They look really cool, don't they? You can see here that I've got some the bases that I originally did with the different powders and the pigments. That's the word I was looking for, and they look really good with this border here. So you can see the different colours there. They look all right. And then you can see this is just the colour of that Martian red cracked earth, and it doesn't look quite so good. Unfortunately, this camera doesn't like things being right up against it. There is a difference between all the different bases, and I really need to find a colour that I can settle on and go, that's really good. While that is better than all the others, I'm still not entirely happy with it, is what I'm trying to get at. I don't particularly like it very much. This one over here is way too brown. It was one of the first ones that I did, and I do want it to be orangey red. And yeah, hopefully the colours that I've been thinking about over here are going to change my mind. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. I'm going to dry brush it on here and move these guys out of the way now. And I'm just going to see if that brings in the images that are in my head. Who knows? So while I'm doing that, Westwood Ho, yeah, I thought so. Don't tell the world where you live. Crazy. Put your pin number down. Why not? Go for it. What I was going to talk about, the special news thing that I wanted to announce, is you may remember me in previous and recent episodes talking about the Recon Show. Recon Show is a model show that is going to be happening in a little town called Pudsey, which is directly between Leeds and Bradford. Quite a distance from where I live down here in the southwest, but certainly drivable. The Pit Gaming Store, who I like to call allies of this show, they subscribe, they follow, they're brilliant people. I've bought loads of stuff from them, and they've just got a fantastic mentality towards the hobby. They're just really nice guys, and Matt's their kind of commander-in-chief. Hi Matt, hi guys at the Pit. They've taken over the running of the show Recon. It used to be run by other people. They've not been able to kind of carry on doing that. So Matt and the Pit team have decided that they're going to run it. They are now the organisers of this show, and that's a big deal. Taking over a show that's quite a distance away from their home as well. That's something to be kind of like proud of. As kind of achievement. I certainly would not like to take over or do anything like that. I think that's quite a big thing to do. And they have invited me, Easy 8, to make an appearance, to have a table there and do stuff and things. And frankly, it's quite an honour. And for a while now, I've been trying to get in contact with Matt. Matt's just been a super busy bloke because there are 52 weeks in a year, right? We all know that, but Matt does over 70 shows a year. That means he travels from his brick and mortar store in London and travels all over the UK to go and do all these shows, him and his team. Sometimes they must be doing multiple shows in a weekend. So, do you know what? It's so busy. Anyway, I actually got an email back from Matt the other day, and we've been conversing, and it's official. We are going to Recon. We are going to be there. I'm going to have a display table. I'm going to be running games, and if the internet gods abide and allow me, I will be live streaming directly from Recon Show. Recon is going to be on the 2nd of December in 2023. So it feels like it's a million miles away, but that time is going to come around real quick. It is truly an honour as a humble little show running out of my attic in my house to be invited and to be able to attend this show. Thank you from the bottom of my bottom place. It's really nice. I'm looking to have a display table of stuff that I have done and that the community who are coming with me. We're going to display stuff that we have painted on the show as success stories or failure stories, maybe in my point, about the show, which is just great. We're going to be probably running a live show there as well. We're going to be running some games of What a Tanker because it's a game that me and my friends all enjoy to play. We'll just be playing that by ourselves, but if you want to drop in and play, we'll teach you how to play it. And maybe I'll even go around, and if other traders are so willing, I can actually live stream them and kind of promote them, because that's a big part of what this show is about. It isn't just about us painting our stuff, it's about sharing all of the different things that are out there, because there are so many different services, professional painters, model builders like Jeff, my dad, actually owns and runs Purple Lion Creations, where he will hand make bespoke terrain and buildings for your war games, and he's sought after the world over, and it's just nice to be able to do that with everybody. I've made lots of friends and lots of connections through Easy8, and loads of those people I've linked all of their websites and platforms like Facebook, etc. down there in the description. Go and show them some love, and just go and have a little look and browse over browse their wares. And if they've got a YouTube channel, maybe subscribe if you're feeling, nice, because that's what this community is. And all of the people who I connect with and share those details with, they all share the same sentiments within the hobby, and it's something that's not taken too seriously. We've all heard of the term rivet counter. If I paint something, people just enjoy it for what it is. It's something that I've painted, and it's not to be sat there and picked apart as a historical inaccuracy, or it doesn't look realistic, or it's just fun. It's a community that brings people together, and that's what I want to do at Recon, is carry on the show and bring people together publicly. It's going to be a great experience, and I'm truly grateful to be invited. So put it in your calendars, save the date, 2nd of December, Pudsey, which is between Bradford and Leeds. We will be there. It's a Saturday, so bring your family along. Get them into the hobby. Come and say hi, and I don't know, shake hands or something. Maybe I'm a celebrity and you want me to sign my autograph. Yeah, people know me. Hi, Mike. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you again. Yeah, so I'm genuinely stoked about that. Really looking forward to it. So, back to dry brushing this funny colour that I've got. While I was chatting away there, I was just trying to look at what paintbrush to use, because I don't have those dry brushes that Kez lent me. I didn't really get on with them. I'm just trying to have a little look at what ones might be really good. Just trying to find a nice soft brush. I've got some that I've used here in the past. Got some others hidden away. Down here. No, they're not good enough. Looking for like a wide bristle. These are really soft. That's a bit dense, I think, so I'm just going to try this one to start with. And one of the things that I have learned about dry brushing is just having a tiny bit of water in the bristles, just enough to wet your fingertip, and then just kind of get it in the bristles there. And that just stops the paint from going all claggy in the bristles, and it stops the paint from coming out chalky. When you're kind of getting those chalky streaks and that chalky build up on your project, that's because your dry brush is too dry. Okay, so I've got a bit of paint here on my paintbrush. I'm just going to use, there's a little bit of texture paint in my palette just over here, and what I'm going to use that as a texture palette, just to kind of get this paint off of. And where that's going on to that Martian colour, this is kind of making it brighter. I like that already. That's really good. Okay, let's just give this a try of this reddy brown colour and see what happens. Now the paint is really transparent, so it might take a while. Maybe I need to add more to the bristles. Let's load that brush up. Let's just put loads in there and see what happens. See, you can see how it kind of streaks there. That's the sort of stuff that I want to avoid when it goes on here. So maybe I need a different style brush. Just going to take my time and see if I can just build it up in this one area here. Perhaps I was trying to go on this side here because there's quite a mound of texture built up, but maybe the cracks, like that cracked earth effect, is where I should be really focusing it. I think it's too thin for dry brushing. It is building up, but it's really hard to do over this darker colour underneath because it's such a transparent paint. And it's clearly designed for thin layers. Mike's doing SOB squad tonight. Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Battle, the Lady Warriors in Warhammer 40,000. They're supposed to be really nice models to paint. Yeah, you can see that I'm getting a bit of a build up here, a bit of a layer. It is a nice colour building up over that brown, but I am struggling with it. So rather than trying to dry brush the colour, what I might try and do is do a base layer of it, and then stain it down with a wash of this or something similar and see what happens. So with that in mind, let's move away from that then. Shame that didn't work, but you know, time to move on. Let's get back to the airbrush, pop the compressor on. A minute ago, I primed this stone here white, and I'm going to move my Skitaria out of the way so I don't get any overspray. I'm just going to spray that colour directly onto it and see how bright it is with a bright base layer, because so far I've just been spraying it onto dark colours. We are also a few minutes away from the end of the show. And it feels like I want to be here even longer because I've got just so much more stuff that I want to do, talk about, etc. Where is it? Here it is. Infinite Colour is a water-based urethane paint designed for use on scale models and miniatures. This paint can be used straight from the bottle for hand brushing applications. It can be reduced with water if required. It doesn't say that you should use it in your airbrush, but the gentleman did say that I could. So, yeah. Or maybe I'm making that bit up. Who knows? So, I'm going to put a couple of drops in here. And one thing that we have learned is that we definitely need to thin this down. So, got some thinner. I'll put in about 3 or 4 good drops of that paint. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3 drops of thinner. And I'm going to put in a good drop of flow improver. That's about 50-50 thinners to paint. Flow improver is just a really good substance to use as a thinner. Where's my mixie brush? Here it is. Just going to give that a good old mix up in the hopper. Okay, here's my little rock. Let's stick it here. Here we go. You can see there's a really thin colour. It's coming out almost like a flesh colour there. It's a very wet colour. It's a very watery sort of paint. It's got a lot of thinner in there for sure, but the paint was doing that before I put that in there. And I'm hoping that as that hue starts to build up and I dry that paint down, just a little bit of air, I'm just hitting it with air at the moment, that as I go over it again with another layer, it builds up quite rapidly is what I'm hoping for. So it might be a nice accent colour to the Martian red colour that you already see on some of the bases that I've got. Don't know why I spun that around, I could just spin the stone around, right? That's very, very different than the dry brush effect that's over the edge of that over the edge of that base there. Very, very different, isn't it? Oh, hello. Didn't realise my airbrush was that powerful. Let's just get a bit of air on that and just try and dry that down. I did put that on quite heavy, to be fair. I'm going to blow around a little bit now. It's getting to that time of year now where paints don't dry instantly when I put them down on something. So I definitely could get a hairdryer in here. I really liked what Scallion TV was saying last week, and that was I should get like little stickers that say like Easy 8 Wazomatic or Easy 8 Dryomatic or something like that, and just stick them on various household appliances that I use here in the studio. Okay, I've gone through that paint already. Well, already we can see that that's a much brighter colour than what I had here. I think that I will try priming this, staining it down with this brown colour that you see on here, this hull red is what it's called, and then like highlighting it with certain pigments and just have another try with it. I think it needs a little bit more attention. Like I say, I really do like the sort of pigment colours that I've got on here. I'm just not very good at applying them, basically. I just need to get better at that. Yeah, that's the thick and thin of it, isn't it? I just think I just need to get better at that. I think that this paint is, while it's probably good for pros, it's probably a lost cause for me, and the fact that I need to do stuff fast. What do you guys think about this colour, this paint, the effects that I'm getting with it? Is it worth it? Do you like it? Ooh, just dropped my cleaner all over the table. It happens to the best of us. At least it wasn't Null Oil. Okay, just clean the airbrush out. Something spiky stabbing me in the back there. Rock over here. It's almost like a pinky fleshy colour before it starts to build up its actual colour. It's weird, and I don't think it's the red oxide colour that I'm looking for. Right, I'm going to turn that off, put that away, get rid of this. One of the last things that I wanted to show you today that I spoke about right at the beginning. Jeff says, nah, don't like it, prefer the Mars Red. Yeah, me too. It was nice. It only cost me, a small amount of money. It was really nice to try something new. It's really thin. Maybe it just needs even more mixing. I don't know. It was very, very thick to put through the airbrush. I thought it was good for airbrushing. I had to really mix that down quite a bit, actually. So the last thing I wanted to show you was the little rods I've got for my flight bases, for my gargoyles. So these came from Green Stuff World. I actually got these supplied by Wayland Games. So thank you, Wayland Games, if you ever do come across my show. Thank you so much. They are 2.4mm in diameter. You can get them in various diameters. They go smaller than this, down to 1 point something. They go right up to like 12mm, so really quite chunky if you need them to. And as you can see, they're actually quite long. I actually don't know how long they are. Have I got a ruler here? How long are they? They are 240mm. It's the first time I've ever used millimeters as an actual definitive measurement. So the idea with these is I could just cut them to whatever length I want, cut off the old flight base of the flight stands from the bases that I've got. Here's one. Come here. So this was actually attached to an unpainted gargoyle. So I've cut the actual stem off from inside the gargoyle here. I will cut it off from the base, use that base and paint it up to make it look like the normal Tyranid terrain that I do. Stick one of these in it. Yeah, and then Bob's your uncle. And that's that basically. I went with 2.4mm because I thought that it would fit quite nicely into the nasty holes that I've made inside the gargoyles. They might be quite thin, but they are quite strong. So you can see a little bit of flex there, which is quite nice. Being acrylic, they're not that rigid, awful plastic that Games Workshop make theirs out of, which broke my nippers, which I've got just out here. I just found them. Look at that. Absolutely gutted. That happened live on stream when I first started painting my gargoyles. I can't remember what episode it was. It was about four streams ago, maybe 5 now. So if you want to see that happen, I was just talking about how good these were, and then snip, and the other end of it is somewhere in the carpet over there somewhere. So yeah, what a shame. They're good nippers otherwise, though, they really are. Right, well, look, here we are. We're at the end of the show already. I'm really even though I've only done like a little bit here, I'm really happy with the time that I've spent doing what I'm doing. I've neatened up those bases. I'm exploring new colours with my Martian bases. I'm going to carry on doing that this evening. I'm going to have a little go dry brushing and you know, maybe using this as a base color. Sorry, this is a base color. Maybe using some pigments over the top of it. If you want to come and join me while I do that, I'm going to be on Discord at the after 8 party. Oh dear, I'm really struggling with words today. Feel free to come and join me. It's in Discord. The link's just down there. I would love to have a chat with you. I'll be on video. You could just use microphone if you want to. Don't have to use video, or you could just type if you like. Whatever suits you. I am there to chat with you. And if you've got any questions about upcoming Recon show in December, come and hit me with those questions. In the meantime, do you know what? I never do this here. In the meantime, if you got, you know, taking photos of any of the projects that you're doing today or recently, go and stick them up on Facebook. Go and put them on Discord. I would genuinely love to see the things that you are working on. I do find inspiration in the community, and I'd love to see it. So if you don't mind, put a picture up. That would be great. That's everything from me this week. It's been great to hang out. Hopefully next week when I come, I'm gonna actually have words that like to make sense. I'm really struggling today. And of course, it's not next week, it's the week after. That is the first show into October. So go and find yourself your orc miniatures or your orc projects or whatever, and let's do some orky stuff over October. October's also my birthday, so it feels kind of, you know, fun to do. So yeah, it's not a competition or anything, it's just a bit of fun, right? So yeah, that's that. Don't forget, there's loads of people and platforms and websites and things to see down there in the description, people who I associate with and like and enjoy the company of. And it would be really nice if you popped over, share them a little bit of love, give them a subscribe or give them a like or whatever it is that they need, and go and have a look at their stuff because it's really cool. Anyway, that's it for me this week. So thanks very much for coming along. I've genuinely had a nice time, despite not being able to say things, words and stuff. So until next week, thank you very much. Stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye-bye. Words, they evade me, so I'll just drink. I've got biscuits.